You might want to say to someone, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You don't know anything. I'm way smarter than you. I have way more calculated decisions. And that might even be true. But this lens, this tool specifically, will allow you to take the time to really determine if that's the case and lead to the best outcome, no matter how you're feeling. This is something I actually want you to try. This one specifically is one that I want you to try because even though you've probably heard of it, or maybe you've heard some sort of version of it, you don't truly see the benefit of it until you start applying it in game time decisions. What's going on, boys? I'm back. Again, this is Spencer from Must Become. I fundamentally believe that what you can become, you must become. That means that if you believe you have the potential within you, and you do have the potential within you, it's your obligation to push that potential into actualized power, actualized reality, so that you can leave a dent in this universe before you ultimately kick the can. As always, if you like this content, please show me by leaving a like on this video. Always feel free to comment in the comment section. I respond to every single comment that I get, as well as take the suggestions on board and actually make videos about the things you guys want me to make videos about. My whole goal is to help you guys, like I said, in any single way I can. Also, please, if it's important for you guys to derive value from this platform, please ring that notification bell so that YouTube will let you know every single time I upload, so that every single time I leave you guys with a nugget of wisdom or a couple tips and tricks, it gives you the opportunity to see those videos as soon as possible so that you guys can begin acting on those values, acting on those principles, and acting on those tips as soon as possible to give you guys the most value that you could possibly derive from this platform. So you guys know there's 2 videos that come before this specific one. This is a series of 3 or 4, maybe 5 at this point videos, but essentially the whole series here is about the power of lenses. It's the way that you can look at problems and look at issues in your life so that you can solve them in a more sophisticated way. With all these lenses, you're able to filter a problem right down through them, and then eventually you'll arrive at a more refined sort of issue that you'll be able to solve a lot more easily. It'll allow you to jump past your emotional brain, go straight into your intellectual brain. These are all principles I talk about in my last 2 videos. So please, if you haven't watched those, I'd recommend you go and check those out, as you're going to understand this video a lot better if you do, and you'll get the most value if you watch these videos as a series as opposed to just an independent, isolated video where you might not get as much value as you could. So with that said, I'm going to jump into the second lens. The second lens is something that's kind of a game time decision. It can be used in a more kind of longer deliberation kind of phase when you're going through, you're trying to make a decision in your relationship or in your business and you're trying to make big impacts in this way. This is a lens that can help you look at certain circumstances. I use it mostly, and this will be my game time decision kind of thing, but it's also something that you can absolutely use whenever you're just kind of thinking about, you're going back and you're deliberating. And it's something, again, this one's also pretty popular. My first video where I talked about the 30,000 foot lens, that one's a very popular one. We hear about it a lot. Like I mentioned, we hear about that from a lot of philosophers and people that are kind of very, very smart and have been traditionally known to be smart people. And that kind of leads into the theme of today's lens. So this isn't the 30,000 foot lens, but with respect to being smart, this lens is called the 10 times smarter lens. Okay, so this is something when you're trying to make a decision, it's exactly the way it sounds. You kind of ask yourself, what would me but 10 times smarter do? 10 times more calculated. Now, it might seem like a silly question because you think you always operate with, your agency always reflects as much intelligence as possible. Whenever you do something, you're trying to act as intelligent as possible, you're trying to be as intelligent as possible in all these different circumstances. And especially if you're the kind of person who likes watching these videos, you like learning, you like, learning about success, learning about the steps, the tips, the tricks that it takes to actually be successful in whatever it is you want to do and leave a dent in this universe, then this is something obviously that would interest you. And you think that, I always operate and try and be as smart as I can in all decisions, but that's not the point of this lens. The point of this lens is to get you to stop. And again, if you go back to that first video in the series where I actually explain the power of lenses, you'll understand that our emotional brain kicks in first. And the importance of this specific question is it asks you, what would 10 times smarter me do? What would 10 times smarter Spencer, in my case, do? The purpose of this is to interrupt that emotional brain and to force you into that kind of more logical problem solving sort of mode where you could think, okay, what would a more calculated, more strategic, more tactical version of me do? Would I say yes to this business deal? Would I say no? Would I take on a loan in my business this early? Or do I think it's a little bit early and it might over leverage me to a point where I'll be too busy paying back loans and too little caring about actually growing my bottom line? And so this is going to be a quick video, gentlemen, but essentially the question is, what would 10 times smarter me do? And please don't just throw this one out because, I used to be the guy where I'd hear a video and someone would recommend a tip or a trick and I'd think to myself, okay, got it. I'll go on to the next video. Got it. 10 times smarter than me. This is something I actually want you to try. This one specifically is one that I want you to try because even though you've probably heard of it or maybe you've heard some sort of version of it, you don't truly see the benefit of it until you start applying it in game time decisions. You're trying to make a decision on what you should say, what you should do. Should you go, route A or route B? You're trying to make that decision. You have a fork in the road. And it's what would 10 times smarter me do? And the reason why is because that allows you to kind of step out of your individual sort of circumstances where you're looking at it through your own eyes, and imagine a different set of eyes that are a little bit more calculated than yourself. And just that process of slowing down will give your emotional brain time to slow down so that your intellectual brain can really kick in. And that's the point here, is you say, what would 10 times smarter me do? And generally you'll arrive at a conclusion that is actually quite a bit smarter than the one you would have made if you had just initially reacted and didn't take the time to recognize that your emotional brain is generally carrying the load. So again, this is a quick video. This is a part of a video series. So again, this is all part of a process. You do the 30,000 foot lens, which will help you mitigate some negatives, and then you'll move on to the game time decision, which is the 10 times smarter me. It'll allow you to put that emotional brain to the side, which you might not even realize that you have, but we all have it. It's built into our neurological circuitry. And so you do that. What would 10 times smarter me do? You think about it for more calculated, more strategic decision that makes you calm down, take a couple breaths, think about it, which is really, really important, especially in relationships when you're in a fight, whatever. You know, you might want to say to someone, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. You don't know anything. I'm way smarter than you. I have way more calculated decisions. And that might even be true. But this lens, this tool specifically, will allow you to take the time to really determine if that's the case and lead to the best outcome, no matter how you're feeling. So that's the importance of this lens, is it gets you to slow down and really think about more in an intellectual way. You might not be realizing that you're using your emotional decision-making tool to make decisions that should be intellectual decisions and have intellectual outcomes. So again, this was a quick video, guys, but if you liked any of the content, please leave a like on this video. Beneath, I'm gonna ask you guys to leave me a comment because I love hearing your suggestions. I love talking with you guys. So anything you guys have to say or suggest, always amazing. Again, one of the goals of this channel is to make a community. And after that, I'm gonna get you to hit that notification bell because I want you guys to derive as much value from this platform, from my channel as possible. And that can only happen if you're consuming the content on a regular basis that keeps you on your shit, keeps you on your mission, and reminds you that what you can become, you must become. Thank you guys so much for listening. My name is Spencer, and I'll see you in the next video.